Hello everybody, this is Lorraine from Canada with an intermediate Verbling class. This class is going to look into gender equality. This means whether we treat men and women equally or have language that is inclusive. So we will be looking at some vocabulary. And also it will be a discussion about gender roles and whether we should or shouldn't have specific roles for men and women. And we have Adela with us. Hi, nice to see you again. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Lauren. Hello.
And Elena. Hi, Elena. How are you today?
Fine, thanks. And you?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you. And Amparo's with us again too. Hi, welcome back. Amparo, are you there? Okay, I'm not hearing you, so I don't know whether maybe you're still not loaded. I'll come back to you in a second.
Hi.
Hi, good. And
Finally.
we have Giuseppe with us as well for this class. Hi, Giuseppe.
Hello everyone. Hello Lorraine.
Hi. I'm glad that you're in the class because otherwise it would just be all women.
Okay.
And we're trying for gender equality here. Maybe there'll be some more men who will join us. But anyway, let's see. Let's get started with the material. And that will give us lots of time at the end to talk about this gender equality thing. I have the worksheet posted in Verbling chat, and I will also share my screen share. Okay, here it is. So you should see a white screen with a man and woman working. And if you can't see it, please let me know. Okay, good. All right, here's a puzzle for you. Giuseppe, can I get you to read this little story, please? Read it out loud.
Sure. One day, a father was driving his son to school when they were both badly injured in an accident and had to go to a hospital. The doctors at the hospital decided that the boy needed to have an operation at once, so the surgeon was called. A few minutes later, the surgeon arrived, looked at the boy and said, I can't operate on this boy. He's my son. Who is the surgeon?
Okay, good. So, who is the surgeon? Anyone?
I knew this tale from before.
Okay, that's fine. You just have to say the answer.
Yeah? Or, well, the surgeon is the mother of the boy.
Yes, exactly. The surgeon is the mother. Now, when you first heard this story, did you have to think hard about who this person was? Who was the surgeon? Or was it very clear right from the beginning?
Well, so. But I remember it liked me. No, I like it. I mean, I thought it was well, a good example of sexist language. Well, example of critique of sexist language.
Okay. So in this this story, the first time I heard it, because we have assumptions, especially here in North America, I don't know about in other countries, but in North America, traditionally men became doctors, and traditionally women became nurses. It was unusual to have a male nurse or a female doctor. So we have these gender roles that we make assumptions about. In other countries, is this true, or are we different here in North America? Adela, what about where you are?
Yes, but I think 10 or 20 years ago, because today they are nurses, male nurses, and a lot of woman surgeons, doctors, etc.
Right. Okay. Anybody else have? Oh, we have somebody new with us here. Oh, Pafawi. Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And you?
I'm good. So, what about in your country? Is it common to have female doctors and male nurses?
For in my country, right?
Yes.
Mm,
Do you have female doctors in your country?
yes, yes.
Okay. All right. So I think nowadays, in the modern times, the gender roles have been changing. But it's because we have decided that they needed to change. Now, let's see if we can put these English words into their correct gender column, whether it's a word we use with just males, a word we use just with females, or is it a word that we use with both? Okay, so let's start with Pafawi. The first word we have is husband. What column should I put it under?
Husband. Male.
Yes, it's male, exactly. Yeah, good. And Giuseppe, the next word is sibling.
Both.
Yes, under both. Good. Okay.
Excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
What does mean of sibling?
Sibling.
Yes.
This is your brother or sister.
Oh.
So if you, sometimes somebody will say to you, do you have siblings? And you would answer yes. Oh, excuse me. Yes, I have a brother, or yes, I have a sister, or no, I don't have any siblings. No brothers or sisters. Okay, so sibling is a word you can use for both your brother or your sister.
Okay, I get.
Okay, Elena, the next word, please.
Well, man.
Man.
Or obviously male.
Okay, good. Yes. Amparo, the next word?
Niece, female.
Female, yes. So a niece is the daughter of your brother or sister. Okay, what about the word sister, Adela?
Sister is female.
Not just female. The next one, Pafawi, is this word? Wife.
Wife is female.
Yes, female. Good. Giuseppe, the word his.
I guess it goes under male.
You would think so, but
or probably both.
Both, yes. In this case, we can put it under both. We don't like to do this, but it does end up happening. This is a real issue with the English language because we don't have a pronoun like that, his, that is not gender specific. So we often use his when we mean both. Okay, Elena, the next word.
Aunt is female.
Good. Amparo, the next one.
Groom is male.
Male, yes. So does everybody understand the word groom?
No.
Okay. A groom
Groom.
is a man who is about to get married. So the woman is a bride and the man is a groom. These are people who are going to get married. Usually on the day of their wedding. They're dressed in their wedding clothes. One is a bride and one is a groom. Okay. What about she? I think it's
Yes.
Adela's turn.
She is female.
Yes, strictly female. Okay. Pafawi, cousin.
Cousin, both.
Yes, both. Very good. Excellent. Giuseppe, he.
Male.
You would think so. You got it again. Okay, we're going to use this under both. Again, it is a problem in English. Okay, so what about the next word, Elena?
Both. Child.
Child is both. Yes, good. And we have somebody who's joined us in the class. Aaron. Hi, Aaron.
Hello, hello.
How are you?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm good, thank you. So we're just sorting out these words into whether they are male, female, or can be for both. So
Both.
the next one, Amparo.
Son, male.
Male, definitely male. Adela, the next
Dota.
word?
Dota is female.
Yes, good. Pafawi, what about this next word?
Master, is both.
No, it's not both. There's another word we can use if it's female.
Female.
So this is not female, it's going to be male. Master is male. Does anybody know what the female version of master is?
Okay. Master.
Anyone? Okay, the female version of master is mistress.
Mistress.
It was a word that was used a lot more often in the, probably 1700s in England. You would have a master and a mistress. If you worked in a big house, like I don't know if anyone sees Downton Abbey. Anybody seen that show, Downton Abbey? It's very popular right now in Canada and the US, but it's a British program. So the very rich landowner is called the master, and his wife is the mistress. Okay, so
But
the next
the
word.
mistress is also the female who the female who lost the husband, the wife of the widow. Sounds like a
No,
widow.
it's widow is the woman and widower is the man. A widower. A mistress can also mean a woman who is not married to a man. He has a wife already.
Yeah.
Then he also
Okay, yeah.
has a mistress.
Hello.
Quimera.
But that's a different use of the word. When you have master, the female version is mistress. And then mistress also has other meanings.
It doesn't sound good.
No.
Keeper house.
a housekeeper.
Oh, housekeeper.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
have it backwards. Housekeeper.
Ah,
That's not a mistress. A housekeeper can be male or female. That word housekeeper has no real gender.
okay.
Okay, so let's get through our list and then we can look at some of these other words. So we're at master, mistress, and Giuseppe is next. So
Nephew
this word, nephew,
is male.
that's male, yes. And then nephew is the son of your sister or brother, is your nephew. Okay, and now we've come to that word I've already talked about, Aaron. Bride, male or female, or both?
Bride is female.
Yeah, it's female. Okay, and Elena, uncle?
Uncle is male.
Yes. Okay, and we have somebody new here. Araceli, hi, welcome. Araceli, hi.
Hello.
Hi, welcome. Do you
Thank you.
know what column spouse should go in?
Yes, a female.
Okay, possibly, but in this case, a spouse could be both. Okay, so what is a spouse?
It's like husband or wife.
Exactly, it's either husband or wife. So if I were going to introduce my spouse, I would introduce my husband. But if my husband was going to introduce his spouse, he would introduce me as his wife. So a spouse just means people who are married together. They are spouses. All right, Amparo, the next one is brother. Amparo? Brother? We can't hear you, Amparo. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
There we go, yes. Now we can hear you.
They're male.
Yeah, brother is male. Okay, and Adela, him?
For me, theoretically, male, but it's possible both, no? Because
Yeah, I think
No.
it's possible both.
Mhm.
Okay, and what about her? Pafawi?
Female.
Yes, definitely female. Okay, and there, Giuseppe?
Both.
Both, okay. So in this list of both, we can see there is a problem where we have his, he, and him as being both, but her, she, and they don't have it here, but hers are considered female, just female. And that is an issue in English because I don't like being referred to as him. So this is a problem. So here we've got a sentence. Aaron, can you read sentence number 1?
Sure. Every exam candidate must switch off his mobile phone.
Okay, so in this case, an exam candidate, is it a male or a female? Anyone can answer here.
Both.
Can be both.
Yeah, exam candidates can be both. But in English, we have no possessive pronoun that means both men and women. And so we're stuck with having to use the male personal pronoun in order to do this sentence. And then as a woman, I find that it doesn't make me feel very included. It makes me feel like exam candidates are only male. So we try to make the language as gender neutral as possible. So can anybody think of a way to reword this sentence so that we don't have to use that personal pronoun?
If you
Possessive
put
pronoun.
them in plural, if you say exam candidates must switch off their mobile phones.
Very good, yes, perfect. Yes, all exam candidates must switch off their mobile phones. There is gender neutral. We don't have to worry about it. So when you're writing sentences in English, try to be as inclusive as possible to get rid of having to use a pronoun. And then it has to be his or her, that sort of thing. So let's try sentence number 2. Adela, can you read the sentence for me, please?
Yes, if the consumer is not satisfied with the product, he may return it within 28 days.
Very good. Okay. So can anybody think of a way to reword this sentence to make it inclusive?
If the consumer is not satisfied with the product, they may return it within 28 days.
Very good. If consumers are not satisfied, they may return it. Very good. Okay. Elena, can you read number 3 for me, please?
A leopard cannot change his spots.
Okay. Can anybody think of a way to make this more inclusive?
Leopards cannot change their spots.
Exactly. Very good. And number 4, Giuseppe, can you read it, please?
Someone stole my car last night. I hope the police arrest him soon.
Anybody think of a way to change this sentence?
If you say the thief, I hope the police arrest the thief soon.
Yeah, okay, that's good because thief would be gender neutral. Let's see what or we could use them because we don't know whether there's one or more than one. You could use them, but the thief is probably the best thing to use in that sentence. Very good. Okay, Pafawi, can you read 5, please?
Darwin claimed that man evolved from
apes.
Apes.
Yes, good. Okay, so how can we change this sentence to be inclusive? Anybody? Giuseppe?
Darwin claimed that the man evolved from apes.
Well, that's the sentence we have. How can we change it so we don't say man?
Human.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, claim that humans evolved from apes. Yes. Okay, so that's a much more inclusive. Okay, well done. So this is something that has been going on for the last 20 years or so. The English language has been changing. We're trying to remove words that have a gender bias, either male or female. Sometimes you can't get away from it. You have to have niece and nephew because it is describing particular things, like people. They are a niece and they are nephews. But when it comes to jobs and job descriptions, we need to make them more inclusive. So we have traditionally used the word, for instance, fireman or firewoman. But how can we make this gender neutral? So, Amparo, can you think of a word that we could use that expresses fireman, firewoman?
Firefighter.
Yeah, firefighter. Yeah, and that is gender neutral, man or woman. Very good. Amparo, who did I just ask? I asked Adela, right? So, Amparo, what about policeman, policewoman?
I already asked.
I'm sorry. I mixed up. I meant to say Adela.
Yes.
Okay. Policeman, policewoman.
Police. Only, no, it's possible.
Yeah, you could say the police, but if you're talking about a specific person and you don't want to call him policeman or policewoman.
Officer. Police officer.
Yeah, police officer. Very good. Okay. And Aracela? How
Yes.
about actor, actress? What could we use to mean both?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
This one ended up not being very satisfying, in my opinion.
Performer?
Oh, good one. Yeah, performer would be really good. That wasn't what I was given for an answer. I didn't like the answer. I like yours better. So I'm going to write that one down. Performer is a good one. But what I was given was actor, which is going right back to using the male, and I think that's wrong. I like performer better. So then you can say film performer or stage performer, depending on what they do, what they actually do. So I think performer is really good. Thank you for that. Elena? Air steward, air stewardess.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know.
Do you know what an air steward is, or a stewardess? Air stewardess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. Can anybody think of anything?
Flight attendant.
Flight attendant or flight operator.
Flight
Yeah.
attendant.
A flight operator, I think, would be more like a pilot. But a flight attendant for sure. Okay, flight attendant. So this is gender neutral. We don't know if this is a man or a woman, and that's the way it should be. Okay, Aaron, what about chairman, chairwoman?
The CEO.
Aaron?
Chairman?
Okay, so we want to get away from man and woman in the word. What could we say instead to make it gender neutral? Any ideas?
Manager?
No, if they're actually chairing the meeting, they are the chair.
Is the boss, no?
The CEO.
I'm not sure if CEO is the same, because CEO is the head of a company usually, and a chairman or chairwoman sometimes is just presiding over a meeting. So one
President?
President's still different. President is a good word because we don't have presidentess. President could be a male or a female. But for chair, we could just say a chair, the chair or the chairperson. Chairperson instead of a man or a woman. Chairperson.
Director? No?
Possibly, but if you want to specifically use the word chair in the word, then you can either just call the person the chair or chairperson. Either one. All right. Giuseppe, what about waiter, waitress?
Server?
Yeah, server. Just a server. Good. All right, excellent. Are there any questions? Are there any other titles that we give people that you can think of that are gender neutral? Somebody came up with president. Very good. Anything else you can think of?
Teacher.
Teacher, yeah, absolutely. There used to be a gender, because that's also where master and mistress were used. You used to have a school master and a school mistress, but they were the heads of the schools, and now we often just call them principals. Principals, teachers, all very gender neutral. Good. Okay. So we're going to come to the discussion portion of our lesson now. These are just...
Lorraine?
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Certainly.
I have noticed that in some lectures I have heard recently, sometimes the speaker used the word she or her, or when he's talking about a person that can be both. It's that usual. I have heard that in academic language, and you know, they are talking about your boss, and when they have to use the pronoun, they use she, but it can be he.
Okay, if there is a specific person in the role, for instance, say your boss is a woman, and somebody is talking generically about boss, but they might just use the she pronoun because it is understood in your company that your boss is a woman, and therefore it's okay.
In the cases I am talking about, it's not a man or a woman. It's an hypothetical case, for example, and I think they do that because they want to avoid sexist language. So sometimes the speaker use he or male, and sometimes she.
Yes.
In Spain, sometimes there are some people is doing that as well. Speak female, meaning generic.
It is the big problem with English, for sure. This is a problem. Everybody who writes in English or has to make speeches in English, we struggle with this he, she thing because we don't have that generic means everybody pronoun. So the closest we have is it, but you can't call people it. That is very impolite, very rude to call people it. But it is the only thing we have to mean both sexes. So as I was pointing out, you try to find other ways to say the sentence. And not everybody is good at creating sentences in English that avoids that problem of the he, she. So that's why you will hear some speakers sometimes say he and sometimes say she, or you'll hear them say he, she, whichever, or he or she. It's very awkward. So I know what you mean. But that's the problem. If people could think of sentences like we did, the best way to do is use the plural, and then as soon as you use the plural, you can use they, their, that kind of thing, and that is gender neutral.
Yeah. We have the same problem in Spanish. Well, I think our problem is bigger than in English. It's,
oh, yeah?
More difficult in Spanish than in English.
Okay. Yeah.
And same as the word man, you know, to describe human, sometimes man is
Oh,
used.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
But about, I don't know, maybe 25 or 30 years ago, here in Canada, there was a big push on trying to find gender-neutral words. And so in schools, they stopped using man in that context. So they started using a word like humans, because we are all humans. So that includes both men and women. But man, it's the whole language was geared for a paternalistic society where man was the head of society, and everything political and religious, everything was all male, and women were just sort of second-class citizens. So we were trying to be more equal. Now, that's what this discussion is about, looking at some questions about equality. So the first question I wanted to ask is, are some jobs too dangerous or difficult for women to do? Okay, so is there anything that absolutely not, women should not be allowed to do it, cannot do it physically, whatever? Anybody want to discuss that? What do you think? Okay, I'll have to...
I think...
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, Giuseppe first, and then I'm not sure who it was who was talking.
Well, nowadays, most of the women and the men do the same job in different areas, and probably there is no actually there is no gap between women and men in doing dangerous task or have a duty, because nowadays we have female soldiers, or we have female police officers, so that's why there is no nowadays there is no this gap between
Okay.
women and men.
Okay, interesting. And who else was it who wanted to talk about that? Somebody else started talking too.
Yes. Was
Yes.
I agree with him. I mean, it's true that most of men have a strength, physical strength, that is bigger than women. But I think if you are doing some kind of work, some types of works, of jobs, require physical strength. But I think they don't require it to a limit. I mean, maybe you are a weak man.
Yeah,
you
or a very
can't
strong
do
woman.
that kind of work.
Right.
Of work. So you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to put a limit in gender. Maybe for some kind of jobs, for example, to become a policeman or policewoman, you have to ask for some physical skills, but you
Right.
can find those skills both in women and in men. So you don't have to keep that barrier. You just have to find right people for every kind of job.
Good, yeah. Good point. Very good point. Now, the other interesting part of this, I don't know about in your countries, but here in Canada, one of our problems is many times women who are doing the same job as a man makes 20% less money doing the same job. And that is a big problem that we have. Because, I mean, sometimes, well, the thinking was a woman has a man who's also going out to work, and so it's not important that she may earn the same amount of money. But many women here are single moms, and they are the head of their families and bringing in the money for their families. Are there problems like that in any of your countries?
Yeah, I heard of that. Yeah, in Japan too. Even though the women do the same job as the men, but their salary tends to be lower than men. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's problem. So if the woman became a single mother, financially they become have a more hardships than men single father or something. Yeah.
Right. Amparo, what about in your country? Is this an issue at all? Do you know?
Yes, I think here it's still we are limitations to get a job for women. You can find a police officer, women police officers, but if you can see the percentage, it's still a little in relation to the percentage of men. It's the same in every, if you are in engineer, in mines engineer, minery. It's also difficult to get a job, or for example, in my case, electronic engineer, you are banned to get a job that you have to climb a tower or something like that, because they think you are not able to do it. So there are still some limitations in many fields, not just in police officer, even doctors, for example, the specialist in bones, traumatologists, they prefer men because they need to be stronger, and women are not strong enough. So there is a discrimination in that sense.
Is that discrimination though when you're looking for a specific skill set? If strength is part of it, is it not reasonable to expect that the candidates who are looking for the job meet the requirements of the job? So whether you're a little tiny guy and you're a doctor, and there's a big strong woman who is a doctor, which one would get the job in that case, do you think?
Well, that depends on who is hiring the personal, the criteria of that people.
Okay. All right, interesting point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Normally, a company should give equal opportunity to both gender.
It's not really fair in that sense, because sometimes they think women, they got pregnant and then they have 2 months for free, and we need to replace the hair, and that implies a lot of money for the company, because you have to try to cover that is the thought of many owners of the companies.
No, that's true.
It's a big issue, even in Italy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So does anybody else want to add to that part of the discussion? What do you think about in your country? Are the salaries equal for men and women if they're doing the same job?
You can see the tennis players also.
Mhm.
The salary that have the big star from male, it's not the same that the women. The
Okay.
prices are different in the tournaments, and they play
Right.
the same
Yeah.
play, the same game, but the prices, the awards are not the same.
Yeah, that's true here too with our hockey teams in Canada. The women's hockey is not well funded, and the prizes aren't as good as the men's hockey team.
Yeah.
So that sort of brings us to question number 3. Why are so many successful artists, chefs, sports people, why are they all men, and why aren't there more women? Elena, what do you think?
Well, I'm thinking about chess, for example. Um, Usually, in history, women have cooked, and so there are, in some way, there are more women chefs than men chefs. But when that profession begins to be evaluated, mm, men are the stars.
Right.
And,
So why do you think that is? Why does that happen? When women do most of the cooking, and they traditionally they cook, but men get all the glory when it comes to, say, cooking in a big restaurant. It's men who do that and not the women.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't know why that happens, but it's a general tendency when a profession is done mostly by women. That profession is less valuable than if the same or similar profession is done by men.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
It's
awful,
funny.
but I don't know. Teacher, for example, if you go to the lower groups, the babies and
Yeah.
little child, well, at least here in my country, that work is done mostly by women, and it looks like well, poor work, not very important really. And well, we all know it's very, very important.
Yes. Yeah.
But
When it
well,
comes, it's a good point you bring up about teachers in the lower grades, like in kindergarten or even nursery schools. In Canada, there was a push to try and get more men to go into that field. But traditionally, men are not as nurturing as women, and also they are now very concerned about pedophiles. Do you understand pedophiles?
no.
Okay, these are men who
Yeah.
do sexual things with children.
Yeah,
And they're afraid of that now. So men don't go into those fields because it's too difficult. They can't do the same things in nursery schools as women can do. If a child is crying, a woman can go and put her arms around the child and hug the child. But a man, it could be running into trouble if he does that, because somebody might think that he has the wrong intention in that field. So that's a real touchy subject.
I think women can't be pedophile.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's stupid. Why women can't be pedophiles?
Well, it's a bias. Again, that is a bias. Women could be. Giuseppe, did you have something to say about it?
Yeah.
Well, I agree with them. I mean, if women are appropriated to service children much better than men in that case.
Well, I'm not sure if it is a fact or if this is just a bias that we have, whether men cannot nurture children. I know many men who have made wonderful fathers who are loving and sweet and nurturing with their children. So I don't know if it's...
My opinion, facing both genders is the best, not only facing the one gender only. For the small kids, and that sensitive issue happened to the police officer too. I think they need women's police officers because touching body kind of thing sometimes they have to do so. Clearly they need women's police officer too, as well as men.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. So if you are arresting a woman, it's better if you have a female officer to do the arrest and the whatever, the searching or whatever. I can see that. Yeah. Okay. So that sort of brings us into question 4 about, generally speaking, what do women tend to be better at than men? And certainly nurturing is one thing that women traditionally have been very good at. Not all women can do it, but it is usually something that goes along with being a woman. Is there anything else that women can do? Anyone? Okay, so what about number 5? What do men tend to be better at than women? Aaron, what do you think?
About number 5?
Yeah. What do men tend to be better at than women, and why?
I think this is very, very, very abstract. I think we have a general concern that the men can do other things a woman does woman thing, but I think it depends on the individual because I think in the brain and in the development when women start the war to becoming an adult, they can be changing his brain to do something other thing, but the most common that science says are the woman can work with multi-process tasks, and the men's we cannot do.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Could you repeat what the women can do that?
Multi-process tasks. Do many
okay,
things.
yes. All right, yes. So multitasking.
Multitasking.
Yes, multitasking. Okay.
And usually the people say, or the custom say the woman had a bad memory, but I don't think so. It depends on the woman.
Well, this is a question that is generally speaking. But what about men? What do they do better than women? What do you think they're better at than women are?
In general, I think the men we can manage better the emotion. I think this is one plus that we have. In general, not all the men. I think like men who have really unstable in emotion part, but usually men are we can make agreements faster than women. Really.
Okay. Yeah, I see your point. The thing with women is we have this fluctuation in our hormones every month, which men don't have, and therefore tend to be more even-keeled. Like their emotions are in check better because they don't have these swings. Good point. Very good point.
Yes, but men has more problems of addictions. For example, drinking or having drugs, and well, I think that's cultural. But in fact, nowadays, at least, if you look at statistics, it would probably true. So, well, have men a bit, sorry, are men more stable in their affections? Well, I don't know, because they have some problems, and I really think is cultural. No, it's not a thing that is wrong with men.
Yeah. Okay.
But
So it's
perhaps the fact now is that.
okay. So a cultural thing. I see what you mean. I agree. Sometimes the culture that we build is not really very suitable for certain personalities, and that sometimes becomes a problem. Well, not just for men, for women too. And there's huge drug problem with men and women in Canada. I'm not sure that men are more into drugs and alcohol than women are these days.
Yeah, perhaps not these days, but in the past, and I'm not sure about nowadays. So things change.
Yes,
And
they do.
the way both women and men manage their emotions change as well.
Yes. Okay, well, unfortunately, we have run out of time for this class, but I thank you all for joining me, and it's been really interesting listening to your points of view, and hopefully I'll see you again on Monday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Nice weekend.
Take care.
See ya.